The Dust Bowl, A Time of Hardship. Written by Ken Burns. This period in American history is marked by both economic and environmental catastrophe, a time when the resilience of the human spirit was tested to its limits, the 1930s. America faced its darkest hour. The streets were filled with uncertainty and the air was thick with despair. The Great Depression gripped the nation. Banks failed, businesses closed, and the once thriving economy came to a standstill. People lined up for hours just to get a bowl of soup or a piece of bread. The stock market crash of 1929 had sent shockwaves through the economy. Overnight, fortunes were lost, and the American dream turned into a nightmare for many. Millions lost their jobs, their homes, and their hope. Families were torn apart, and communities were left in ruins. The sight of homeless encampments became all too common. Families struggled to put food on the table. Every meal was a challenge, and every day was a fight for survival. The simple act of sharing a meal became a symbol of resilience and unity. It was a time of immense hardship, especially for those in the Dust Bowl region. The land that once provided sustenance now turned against its inhabitants. The Dust Bowl was an ecological disaster. Massive dust storms known as black blizzards swept across the plains, turning day into night and making life unbearable. Severe drought and dust storms ravaged the Midwest. Crops withered and died. The once fertile soil turned to dust, and the landscape became a barren wasteland. Farmers, once the backbone of America, were hit the hardest. Their livelihoods were destroyed, and their dreams were shattered. They toiled endlessly, hoping for a miracle that never came. Many were forced to leave their land, becoming migrants in search of a better life. They traveled hundreds of miles, often with nothing but the clothes on their backs, in search of hope and a new beginning. Their journey was fraught with challenges, but their spirit remained unbroken. With widespread unemployment, money was scarce. Families had to make do with what little they had. Every scrap of fabric, every bit of food was precious. New clothes were a luxury few could afford. Children went barefoot or wore hand-me-downs until they were threadbare. Yet, even in these desperate times, the human spirit found a way. People held on to hope. They found innovative ways to survive. They learned to stretch their resources further than ever imagined. And in the heart of this struggle, a peculiar trend emerged: clothing made from flour sacks. Food came in sacks made of cotton fabric. These sacks, particularly flour sacks, became a lifeline for families struggling to clothe themselves. Sturdy and readily available, they were an unexpected source of material. Mothers, skilled at sewing and mending, transformed these humble sacks into garments for their families. Flour sacks were particularly popular. They were made of a lighter weight cotton, more suitable for clothing. Other sacks, like those used for sugar or feed, were coarser and used for items like dishcloths or towels. But it was the flour sack that truly captured the ingenuity of the Depression era. The process was simple yet ingenious. The sacks were carefully emptied, the seams ripped open, and the fabric thoroughly washed to remove any traces of flour or branding. Then, with skillful hands, mothers turned these blank canvases into shirts, dresses, underwear, and even diapers. Patterns were traced from newspapers, magazines, or even existing garments. Embroidery, lace, or scraps of fabric were added to embellish the simple garments. It was a testament to the creativity and resourcefulness born out of necessity. Section 5, a colourful turnaround: how companies reacted. As the trend caught on, flour companies took notice. They realized that their sacks were no longer just containers, but a valuable commodity. To appeal to their customers, they began to make changes. Plain sacks were replaced with those printed in colorful patterns. Floral prints, geometric designs, even cartoon characters adorned the sacks. These changes weren't purely aesthetic. They were a savvy business move. Companies knew that mothers preferred the prettier sacks. It was a win-win situation. Families got access to more appealing fabric, and companies saw their sales increase. Section 6. Feed sack quilts, a lasting legacy. The legacy of feed sack clothing extends beyond the Depression era. The resourcefulness it fostered left an indelible mark on American culture. Today, feed sacks are collector's items. They represent a time of hardship, but also of resilience and ingenuity. One of the most enduring legacies of the feed sack trend is the art of feed sack quilting. These quilts, often passed down through generations, are a vibrant tapestry of the past. Each square tells a story of hardship, resourcefulness, and the enduring power of the human spirit. Section 7. Beyond the Depression, feed sacks in fashion history. During the Great Depression, resourcefulness was a necessity. Families found innovative ways to make the most of what little they had, and one of the most fascinating examples of this ingenuity was the use of feed sacks for clothing. These humble sacks, originally used to store animal feed, became a vital resource for creating garments. The use of feed sacks for clothing even had a surprising influence on mainstream fashion. As the economy began to recover, the trend of using feed sacks didn't just disappear. Instead, it evolved and found its way into the broader fashion landscape. Women continued to sew dresses, aprons, and even children's clothing from these sacks, showcasing their creativity and resilience. Designers, inspired by the ingenuity of the era, began to incorporate the look of feed sacks into their collections. They saw the potential in the simple patterns and sturdy materials, transforming them into high fashion. This unexpected source of inspiration led to unique and innovative designs that captivated the fashion world. The simple, utilitarian aesthetic found its way onto runways, a testament to the enduring appeal of this Depression-era trend. The practicality and charm of feed sack clothing resonated with designers and fashion enthusiasts alike, leading to a revival of this style in various forms. The influence of feed sack fashion can be seen in the minimalist and utilitarian trends that continue to grace the runways today. Even today, echoes of the feed sack trend can be seen in the popularity of upcycled fashion and sustainable clothing. Modern designers are increasingly turning to recycled materials, finding inspiration in the past to create eco-friendly and stylish garments. The principles of sustainability and resourcefulness that define feed sack fashion are more relevant than ever in today's fashion industry. The idea of giving new life to discarded materials, of finding beauty in the unexpected, has resonated throughout the decades. From the Great Depression to the present day, the legacy of feed sack fashion lives on. It serves as a reminder of the power of creativity and the importance of sustainability in fashion. By embracing these values, we can continue to innovate and create beautiful, meaningful clothing that honors the past while looking towards the future. Section 8. The Human Spirit's Triumph. The story of feed sack clothing is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. During the Great Depression, when resources were scarce and money was tight, people had to find innovative ways to make ends meet. Feed sacks, which were originally used to store animal feed, became a valuable resource. These sacks were made of sturdy cotton and often featured colorful patterns, making them ideal for repurposing into clothing. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, creativity and ingenuity can flourish. Women would carefully unpick the stitching of the sacks, wash the fabric, and transform it into dresses, shirts, and other garments for their families. This practice not only provided much-needed clothing, but also allowed for a sense of normalcy and dignity during a period of great uncertainty. It's a story of making do with what you have, of finding beauty in unexpected places, and of the enduring power of community. Families would often share patterns and sewing tips, and communities would come together to help one another. This collective effort fostered a sense of solidarity and hope, proving that even in the face of adversity, the human spirit can triumph. The Great Depression was a time of immense hardship, but it also revealed the strength and resilience of the American people. Soup kitchens and bread lines became lifelines for many, and the spirit of cooperation and mutual aid was palpable. People found ways to support each other, whether through sharing food, resources, or simply offering a kind word. The feed sack trend is just one example of how, when faced with adversity, people found creative ways to not just survive, but to thrive. It stands as a powerful symbol of resilience, resourcefulness, and the unbreakable human spirit. Even in the most challenging times, people can find ways to adapt, innovate, and support one another, proving that together we can overcome any obstacle. Section 9, Echoes of the Past. Lessons in Sustainability. In today's world, facing environmental challenges and a growing awareness of sustainable practices, the story of the feed sack trend holds valuable lessons. It reminds us of the importance of resourcefulness, of reducing waste, and of finding creative solutions to the challenges we face. The people of the Great Depression, out of necessity, embraced a sustainable way of life. They reused and repurposed materials, extending their lifespan and minimizing waste. These practices, born out of hardship, are now more relevant than ever. Section 10, Conclusion, Feed sacks, a symbol of resilience. The feed sack trend, born out of the hardships of the Great Depression, stands as a powerful symbol of resilience, ingenuity, and the enduring human spirit. It's a reminder that even in the face of adversity, we have the capacity to adapt, to innovate, and to find beauty in unexpected places. The story of the feed sack is a story of American history. It's a story that continues to inspire us today, reminding us of the importance of community, resourcefulness, and the power of creativity to overcome even the most difficult challenges.